I wanted you to suffer, I wouldn't do it in some backhanded way. Welcome to Legends of Gotham, where we talk about Fox's hit series Gotham, set in the world of Batman. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Anne-Marie DeSimone.
And we are back here on Sunday night, right where we belong, Facebook.com/Legends of Gotham, where we come to you live every Sunday night after an episode of Gotham airs, except for last week, because we were on Monday instead.
That's because I wasn't feeling so good.
Well, why aren't you feeling good?
I don't know. I blame the children.
Do you feel better at least now?
I feel a percentage better, but if you hear any, I apologize. I have a cough drop because my throat is just like cranky.
Well, that's okay. This is mainly an audio show, and I don't think anyone's going to be bothered by a lot of like weird mouth noises like during the entire broadcast. I think it'll be okay.
Hello, Andy and Bobby over in the comments chat room thing.
The comments chat room over on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Legends of Gotham. Again, we usually go live 9 p.m. Sunday nights EST, except for next week and maybe the week after, because Gotham's going to be on break.
It's only on break next week.
It's only on break next week?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But it'll be 2 weeks until our next show.
Yes.
Because there's a week off in between. We were having issues. Like the two of us, he's like, we're off for 2 weeks. I'm like, no, we're off for 1 week. But it kind of turns into 2 weeks. Either way, there's no episode next week. And then there will be the week after.
But you know what there is this week?
An episode!
Also a rhyming, riddling episode summary if you want to take that away, Anne-Marie.
All right, I apologize. This one is rough.
This one's great. What are you talking about?
It has like 2 lines of great and 1 line of rough. Is Jim's army buddy a foe or a friend? At least he gives Jim a choice in the end. Did Oswald chip away at Ed's moral reserve? He's not the real problem, but he's surely... Wait, what?
Resolve.
He's not the real... What did I say?
You said reserve.
Let me try that again.
Okay, take 2.
Take 2. Is Jim's army buddy a foe or a friend? At least he gives Jim a choice in the end. Did Oswald chip away at Ed's moral resolve? He's not the real problem, but he's surely involved. Is Hugo a monster? No, but he makes them. Can Bruce change a cat who only wants to condemn him? Is government help Gotham's promised cure? The city's fate rests on the man from Pena Dura.
Pena Dura. Pena Dura. Pena. Anne-Marie, what'd you think?
The episode was good. However, your singing could use some help. Your singing could use some help there, man.
Yeah.
No, but the episode is really good. One thing that I was saying when we were rewatching it, I was like, this is an episode I just want to sit and watch. I don't know if I would take many notes. So I apologize if I'm very
scatterbrainy.
A little scatterbrainy today.
No, it was a really solid episode.
It was a solid episode. I just was like into it and not writing the things.
Yeah, well, there are episodes that come out that have a lot to discuss and theorize on, and there are ones where a lot of stuff happens. And I feel like this one was definitely any theorizing we could have really got into. The answer was given to us by the end of the episode,
right?
Like with Eduardo, the character Eduardo, and stuff like that. So. Good stuff, though.
Truth.
Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and get started with my main point, which I'm calling Honor Among Freaks. This is a reference to the episode or the scenes between, or really the scene between Ed and Oswald when Ed comes into Oswald's place and he's like, hey, you did that to me. And Oswald's like, no, I didn't. But there were a lot of really good moments in this. I think Oswald, when Ed accuses him, he really takes offense to it. And I think it's because he still genuinely cares for Ed, even though they're very far away from the deep friendship / romance that Penguin imagined for them a couple seasons back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But my biggest takeaway from all of those scenes is sort of the idea of mutually assured destruction they've kind of set up. Where, Penguin says to Ed and Ed says back to Penguin, if I'm coming after you, you're going to know about it. If I haven't told you directly that I want to take you down, I'm really on your side. Which I thought was a kind of really a fun thing to do. It was for 2 of the trickiest characters on the show, the most conniving characters on the show.
Yes.
It kind of shows that there's still honor among freaks in Gotham.
Yes.
Which is good.
Most definitely.
I also thought it was kind of interesting. I also thought that I was 14 years old. No, but I also thought it was kind of interesting that Penguin used a similar defense when Ed accused him as Victor Zsasz did last week when he was accused. Basically, if I wanted you to suffer, I would never do it in some backhanded way. Just like Zsasz said, if I was going to kill all these people, I'd have cuts all over my body.
Yeah, you would know.
It basically says to me that, in Gotham, the criminals are criminal, but you can pretty dependably know where they stand. Like, they may be evil, but at least they're evil. You know where they're coming from. And they're not going to really differ from their course so much. Penguin will always take credits for his crimes, and Ed will only kill people that he cares about.
He only kills people that he has a history with, not necessarily that he cares about, because he didn't care about Officer Doherty.
Riddler needs a motive to kill
Right. He's not just randomly like, hey, dude, poop!
Where Penguin will kill a guy for a sandwich and let him know.
That he will. Sure. That he will.
But, in the end, the duo walk away from each other with the mutual respect that we haven't really seen in a long time. I mean, Ed slips away at the end and Penguin's very annoyed. But they kind of come to an understanding, I think. So I hope that, whenever they meet up next, we're going to see them working together and more of a partnership like we had back in, season 2, maybe season 3, that area.
Right. I just can't wait to see how we get to the point of the opening scene from this season.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's still a few steps to walk for sure.
What are you talking about? That totally could be tomorrow. No, obviously not. Okay, so give her a shake, would you? Rattle. So unfortunately, it seems like of all of Bill's fabulous predictions on how we were bringing back Jerome,
they were fabulous.
We got the boring one.
Yeah, the boring one.
They just sewed him up.
Yeah.
Apparently, he wasn't actually dead. He was probably acting a good percentage of that. And, for all we know, he may have even had, bags of fig blood or something hanging out for her to stab. Because she had to stab me at least once or twice. Like, okay. So when let's just go.
Just to give context, we're talking about the Joker and Echo scene here. Yeah,
Jerome and Echo. I'm getting there.
Jeremiah. Jerome's dead.
Oh, yeah. Well, all of my notes write Jerome.
Nice.
I'm new here. Apparently.
He even fooled you.
He just keeps dying. I don't know who's here anymore. So when we were first introduced to this tunnel a few weeks ago, was Jeremiah already in charge of it, do you think?
I don't know. I was kind of wondering that myself, whether he took over the project and diverted it over towards Wayne Manor, or whether that was the plan all along.
I kind of think that he's been in charge all along, because it seems very, very, very odd to have random Gang X are doing something so specific. Like they're digging into the Batcave that nobody should know that the Batcave is there. So that's also curious. Well,
it's not quite the Batcave yet. But
not technically or by name.
If you remember, Jeremiah worked for Thomas Wayne, though, building stuff. So he probably knew that there was that area underneath Wayne Manor, because maybe he was involved in the construction of it, remember?
He probably was.
Yeah.
He probably was. Interesting. See, that part had escaped me.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeremiah was the Wayne architect.
Yeah. I still don't know how you would trust a man like that. But just because he would have been so very young when that had to have been happening. Because, I mean, he's what, like 25?
You can call it like the Doogie Howser effect. Where a young smart kid is given way more responsibility than he deserves.
That he should ever get. Yeah. Okay. So other questions about that whole tunneling situation.
Okay.
Really still curious about what's going on with this gas thing. Because it's in the masks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that makes it actually even weirder that it's in the masks and not like in the air, and the masks are protecting them, because only certain people have the masks.
Well, the big boss guy who got killed last week, when the gas was introduced, he was taking a huff off it like, this will show you the truth. This will show you what you need to do. I'm guessing it's probably we said last week, I think, that, it's probably some sort of a variant on the Viper juice or venom, as we know it in the comics, that was used to give people extraordinary abilities. I'm guessing they're probably using it on the workers, one, to keep them kind of subdued, and two, to give them more strength than they would normally have to help build this tunnel quicker.
Which is interesting because they were just taking it down brick by brick. At the point where we saw he takes the brick down, you can see through. Ooh, I'm like, okay, did you not know you were that close? Okay, so there's that. I must have forgotten we had that discussion because I was like, does the gas have anything to do with Scarecrow? Because he did work with Scarecrow a bit.
Well, Jerome worked with Scarecrow on the gas that turned Jeremiah into the current version of Jeremiah.
I'm just saying.
So,
there might have been a trade at some point of some sort. Whatever.
Definitely.
I guess we now finally have the answer as to whether or not Bruce and Alfred have been going back to the manor. They haven't.
Not as of yet, no.
They haven't.
I have a feeling they're going to be drawn there at some point, though.
Don't know why.
A sneaky suspicion.
Okay, here's the sneaking suspicion. So, I know that the two people in the end are supposed to look like Martha and Thomas Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not 100% convinced that he just did surgery on people to make them look like it and didn't pull bodies from the crypt and bring them back. I know it's been a couple years.
That's pretty. You'd think he would need the help of someone like Hugo Strange, who's in this
we don't know who's this other guy.
Yeah, that's true.
We've got it. I mean, it's Gotham, baby.
I know that on previous seasons they've established that there's one or two people within Gotham who will convert a face over for you. Right. Make your face look like whatever you want it to be. Because I think Professor Pig had that happen.
Right.
I'm trying to think of some other examples. I think Jerome had something like that done.
That's the thing. We there's connections.
Mm-hmm.
There's people in Gotham who do this type of shenanigans.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. That it's probably two actors that they've hired to play Thomas and Martha Wayne, and they do the whole conversion process.
See, but that's our guess, and who knows?
Yeah,
because it's Gotham.
Either way, though, it's really, really screwed up.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, these people are the gift that he was mumbling to himself. Jeremiah was mumbling to himself about last week. The gift for Bruce. I just wonder what his end game is with it.
It's the Joker. Does he have to have an end game?
My thought was that maybe he's trying to get, like he did, or I think Jerome did last season. He's trying to give Bruce that one bad day that'll turn him into a crazy man like Jeremiah, and they can be best buddies again.
Oh,
that's kind of what I was thinking.
I mean, he had a pretty bad day when he was talking to Kat. That didn't go so well.
Yeah, that didn't go great at all.
That did not go the way he anticipated.
But he recovered a bit, kind of.
A bit.
Anything from the chat room there?
Let's see. Bobby's still not a fan of Echo. And when he was unwrapping them, I got vibes of the scene from the 89 Batman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. That when the doctor's taking the bandages off Jack Napier's face and he's revealed as the Joker. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so let's see here. My next point I've titled, Who Watches the Army Men? So we learned in this episode that the people that Jim have been talking to on the radio do exist, but they might not have Gothamites' best interest in mind.
See, I don't actually necessarily know that they're the people on the radio.
You don't think?
See, so we've had two different people on the radio.
Uh-huh.
We have the people who, they're still good people trying to help you, blah, blah, blah. That lady.
Yeah.
Who is who I think you're talking about.
Which I believe that's supposed to be Secretary Walker, who gets name-checked a few times in this episode.
But then we also have the one who's telling them that no help is coming. You got to figure it out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
From what I was actually interpreting that, and that sort of changes a little bit of what you said here, but that the female voice saying you still have friends over here, I don't think it's an official person. I thought it was just somebody hijacking communications.
Oh yeah, there's definitely the possibility here that everything we saw with Eduardo and his crew.
Not Eduardo.
Eduardo and his crew in this episode, and everything we've heard about the government before this definitely has the possibility of being a complete setup, completely subverting the government. I'm going with the assumption that it is the government, but it's a corrupt government thing.
Okay. Pause. We actually have comments. So Andy says he's fine with Echo. I'm just going to assume that she will be the woman who give birth to Harleen and have that just be the Harley Quinn connection. And Bobby says Walker is the woman who sent them.
Mm-hmm.
Not arguing that. I'm just not completely sure how that's all going down.
Well, I think, really what we're coming down to here is who's pulling the strings in this situation.
That's true. Sorry. I was like, hello, tangent, come with me.
It's all good. But, so we get the name check of a character named Secretary Walker several times, but who is Secretary Walker? I think it was the female voice on the radio.
I don't, but continue.
But I was looking around online for speculation on this. Some people were saying, well, maybe it's Amanda Waller, but I feel like the names Walker, Waller are too close to actually be the same person. Because why would Amanda Waller kind of mask her identity like that?
I mean, corrupts.
Plus, the thing that Warner Brothers has with using movie characters and TV shows and going back and forth.
That might be why then.
I know they've gone back on that a little bit, but I still feel like this might be a little too close to
Jeremiah Joker. Hello.
Yeah.
Echo literally looks exactly like Harley.
Mm-hmm. They're doing what they can. They're doing what they can,
which is actually how I could see the Waller Walker thing being that. But that voice didn't sound like
the wall enough for you.
No, not at all. Did not sound like her.
But out of everything, I think the biggest clue we've been given as to the identity and the motivation behind this group of people is the timing of Ed getting the chip implanted in his brain.
Okay.
Because Penguin took him to Hugo Strange right after the bridges blew up in last year's season finale. So for Walker's people to commission a mind control device for him at that point means they would likely need to be in the loop on Jeremiah and Ra's al Ghul's plans for Gotham.
True.
So hence, I think it's pretty likely that whoever Secretary Walker is, she'll have a connection to the demon's head himself, Ra's al Ghul. It could also maybe it's Talia al Ghul, Ra's daughter.
Okay.
She could be behind it. Maybe helping her father's plans to come to fruition. On the other hand, it could actually, at the end of the day, Secretary Walker could be just a patsy, and it could be Ra's al Ghul himself. Because I know we saw him dissolve to dust in the season finale last year.
Doesn't mean anything.
But it's Ra's al Ghul. His whole deal is that he comes back from the dead and he's immortal, and he'll always come back every time.
Yeah.
So my guess at this point is that Ra's is somehow pulling the strings behind all of this, and that's why he's causing even more chaos in Gotham.
See, that I could believe.
Mm-hmm.
That I could totally believe. I like that whole. Sorry. Being Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
I like that whole.
It would be cool to introduce her into although I guess if she's going to have age parity with Bruce like she does in the comics, she's going to have to be like an 18-year-old Talia al Ghul, which the woman on the radio didn't sound to be, 18, 19, 20 years old.
You don't think?
No, she sounded a little older, I thought, but I haven't gone back and listened to it with this in mind, so I could be wrong.
I could see her being younger, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out.
I guess so. Anything else interesting from the chat?
Let's see. Bobby agrees with you that the government is corrupt.
Both in general and on Gotham.
Why? He says that in the next week's scenes, Rumpelstiltskin's mom is playing the Walker character, and she always plays evil.
Nice. Rumpelstiltskin's mom from Once Upon a Time that we used to do a podcast about. That's
so
fun.
did Bobby.
Yeah, actually. And
same podcast.
I was going to say one of the main writers this season also used to be a writer on Once Upon a Time. So there's a lot of little connections like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, which I totally didn't get until a week ago.
Oh, really?
I had no idea that there was a Once in Gotham connection. I was like, really? This is my life.
Once again, a Gotham connection.
That would have been a good one. Okay, so things are getting strange around here. Not that pen. Things are getting strange. Oh, he doesn't listen. So how did Walker and the army find Strange? That is actually, I'm blanking. Sorry. We didn't really answer that. How did they find him so quickly?
Yeah.
Is really I get that it has to have, a rage connection. to know, or at least has to know the plan. Like,
yeah, well, it's whoever the army people are, between that, them finding Hugo strange, the timing of Ed's implantation, all this stuff, they have to have, fingers deep on the pulse of Gotham.
Yeah, they're in there. Okay, so, and really it was, what exactly did they ask Strange to do? Did they ask specifically to make him controllable? Did they specifically ask for this, like, type of an implant?
Yeah.
How was he to be controlled? What all do they need him to do? How specific are the instructions? How close does somebody need to be to control him? This is the one that's really been getting me. Like, homeboy holds up this thing, boop, and he's like, back into his ice block. I thought that was a little odd. Like, he swung into town, but I guess maybe he didn't.
Maybe it's something like through, cellular signals or something they can.
There is no cellular signals.
But I'm saying, they can implant specific instructions to Ed that he can carry out in those nighttime hours that we've seen him active in while under control of the chip. But there's also, a fail-safe, app version that they can flash in front of him when they have him right there.
Yeah.
That would be my idea.
That's a little weird. Bobby says, I guess Barbara knew where to find Strange. She actually said she didn't know where to find Strange. Didn't she?
I'm trying to remember if it was her or Penguin that sent him. No, I think he went to Barbara to find out where Strange was.
Well, she said she didn't know where he was. That confused me.
Hold on. We'll be back in 10 minutes, guys. We're just going to go rewatch the episode real quick.
No, we won't. And Andy says, does Nigma come with Bluetooth settings? And I think he does.
Definitely.
You can connect him to your car. He will give you directions. How fun would that be? He will give you a riddle to know what your next direction was. You don't know if you're going left or right until you figure it out.
Well, back in the second season, didn't they have these little commercial vignettes they would play during Gotham with Corey Michael Smith driving a car?
Yes, they did. And that might be where they got the idea.
Nice.
Let's see. Okay, so what else has Strange has he been doing? Obviously, he's like, it seems like he's just messing around with dead bodies. It's like, that last one you brought me was gangrenous. And, channeling George Takei with his, oh my.
Oh my.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was, because I had always suspected that the actor had been basing that character a little bit off George Takei. And it was so great to have him say that line and give full confirmation that, it's totally a George Takei impression.
It was so good. But I wonder, like, how did the Contact necessarily find Strange? Does he have any other army contracts? Because we know there's at least one other character who he received the body of the same night who we haven't seen yet.
Lee.
And she comes in the next episode. So, okay, let's go with this. Since we've gone through all this, what if she, like, I know that wasn't her voice.
Yeah.
What if she's Waller?
What if she's like the one pulling the strings? Well, I mean, that would make a good bit of sense because she's kind of positioned herself as, this slightly criminal protector of, certain poorer sections of Gotham and everything.
However, that wouldn't explain why she blew up Haven or he blew up Haven.
Yeah, because I don't think Lee would sign off on that.
No, but, I feel like she's involved.
Yeah, she's somewhere in the mix for sure.
She's got to be in that.
If nothing else, because she was on that table right next to Ed in the. Yeah.
Like he was like, "What do I do with the two of you?" And what did he do with her?
Exactly.
We thought he blended them for quite a while. Nasty hair. He needed a little dry. Let's see. Bobby thought the same thing as you about George Takei. And he says Siri met her match. Enigma.
Nice. Very nice. Okay, so let's see here. Now, well, I guess we're going to take a break in a second here. But first, it's time to light the night! Light the night! Light the night! Light the night! Yes, let's turn on the bat signal because it's time to light the night. In our new reoccurring for the next 8 weeks, 7, 9... something week segment, we shine a spotlight on pivotal steps on Bruce's path to becoming the Bat. So, Anne-Marie, what are we shining a light on tonight?
Harvey teaches Bruce how to be a workaholic.
Yes, I definitely, I thought it was well worth pointing out that scene between Harvey Bullock and Bruce Wayne, where Bruce walks into the room and Harvey's kind of slumped over in his chair going through
The paperwork,
and files and stuff. It reminded me a lot of those brooding shots you see of Bruce with the mask back, sitting in front of the Bat computer in the Bat cave, like after he's come in from patrol and he's trying to crack a case. And then, you know, the actual instructions that Harvey gives Bruce during that whole scene are very much, you know, the kind of things that Batman will be doing, or very much informs the kind of things Batman will be doing in the future. Like, you know, going out there and just, you know, pounding the pavement night after night and nothing ever gets better. And you have to be okay with that. And it doesn't have to be about the outcome. It has to be about the work. And then hopefully you'll reach the outcome at some point. Yep. There's also another little moment there you wanted to point out, a little light the night moment.
And Bobby's with me. And then the sudden disappearance.
Yes. Yeah,
kid, if you want to. And he's gone.
Bruce Wayne has been doing the Bat disappearance
for the past year, more and more, and he's better and better at it every time.
Definitely.
I enjoy it.
Although when he starts doing it as Batman, some people might be like, "Didn't Bruce Wayne used to do that trick?" And this guy kind of looks a little like him. I guess.
Looks a little like him with the black leather, everything. And
if you squint a little bit,
you turn to the right.
Okay, so that's our Light the Night for this week.
Woohoo, light the night!
We want to remind you guys real quick, you know, we live stream this over on Facebook, but we also have a YouTube page over at youtube.universebox.com. If you want to go over there and subscribe, you'll get these videos and, you know, any other videos we decide to throw up there, whatever might come next after, you know, Gotham is
in about
done.
9 weeks or so.
Yeah. So definitely go over there and subscribe while you can, when you can.
While you can. Are you taking it away?
Yeah. You guys have 3 days to subscribe. If you don't subscribe, I'm deleting the channel. You in particular, I'm going to be watching for you, Mr. Jonathan Crane. No, wait, that's the Scarecrow. Wrong one.
I know. Okay. I was like, what? What is happening here?
Okay, well, we don't have our Patreon ad read like we used to do back in the day, so we're going to play this instead. We'll be right back.
In this crazy mixed-up world, you need fake news you can depend on.
Fake count on.
When news is breaking, it's probably the fakest.
It's probably the fakest that's breaking it. That's me. I'm Paul Defoe.
We've got a commercial, Paul.
Breaking the fake news for real. From KCOM Studios in somewhere west of New York City, this is The Fakest.
Only one podcast is on it. On the scene, making up, breaking the fake news for real. With more reporters covering more fake stories. Coming June 18th to Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Google Podcast, and VoiceFacts. I can also email you the transcript if you want. Check us out at thefakest.com and subscribe on Apple Podcast for a new thrilling episode every 2 weeks. Pretty timely. The Fakest. We fake it when we make it. And that is The Fakest. It's not political.
It is not political.
It's a sketch comedy with a plot. Basically, it's, you know, a news program, but all of the stories are fake, and there's a bit of a plot thread connecting everything.
It's a very thin thread.
A very thin plot thread connecting the story of the people who work within the newsroom. A lot of familiar voices on there. I'm on it. Anne Marie's on it. Bobby in the chat room's on it. Rebecca Johnson, the host of Supergirl Radio, is on it. Whole bunch of people. Mr. Big J, who you're going to hear from later in the episode tonight. But go over there, thefakest.com. Go ahead, like, subscribe. We're coming out with season 2. I just sent out the script to the actors for season 2 yesterday. For the season premiere. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We want to get you guys all on board. It's a lot of fun. Little not safe for work, so be careful.
Absolutely not.
Don't play it around the kids. Thefakest.com.
Don't play it around the kids. Thefakest.com.
I should make that subdomain. I will. Maybe possibly. Okay, so my next point, I was very excited in this episode because there's a classic Batman 66 villain that doesn't get revisited very much. I think the only other reference I've seen to her in recent years has been like a little cameo appearance in the background on Batman Brave and the Bold. And that's Ma Barker. Ma Barker rides again. I don't know if it's official or not, but as far as I'm concerned, it is. The group of hill folk who captured the Riddler in this episode are they have to be Ma Barker and her boys. The character Ma Barker, she was played by Shelley Winter back on the old Batman TV show. She's a master criminal with a gang of sons that help her commit crimes. The sons are generally dumb muscle, much like we see in this episode.
These two were barely muscle.
I know.
They were dumb twigs.
But, but Ma Barker is really the brains of the operation. She's like a master criminal. It's kind of like, think of the Beagle Boys from DuckTales, where it's the Beagle, all the dumb brute Beagle Boys, and then Ma Beagle is in charge. It's kind of the same dynamic. Her first story on Batman 66 is a classic too. I figured I'd describe it for you guys a little bit. Basically, she's a criminal. She's a criminal mastermind, like I said, but she needs to break into jail to get something, to get a piece of information. So she brings her boys to Gotham City to commit crimes because she's like, Batman's a very competent crime fighter. Maybe he can actually catch me where all these other people haven't been able to, so I can get into the jail and get the item I need. So a very clever plan. We didn't quite see that cleverness in this episode, but
poor JoJo.
It's a really good story. Again, I recommend you go and seek out that episode of Batman 66. While her boys are on fire when Ed leaves them at the end of the scene, I really hope we get to see a bigger adventure with these characters before the season ends. Next to Egghead, she's probably my favorite Batman 66 villain. And assuming this is the Gotham interpretation of that villain, I think they did an awesome job, and I really hope we get another story with him before the end of the season.
I would not count on that.
You would not count on that?
No.
Why is that?
Because we have about 9 episodes left.
We do have about 9 episodes.
Or 7 episodes or something.
What did you think of that whole scene, though?
I thought it was hilarious.
With the engine?
I think possibly my favorite part is that they had him like duct taped to an aluminum like lawn chair.
Yeah.
That was literally, I was like, I think I had that lawn chair growing up. Like, what's going on, guys? And just like, there was just like battery after battery after battery. And that they fell for his, too bad the fuel lines clogged. Like, really? I mean, I know you're stupid.
Well, they are hill folk.
I know the hill folk.
Although I will say that, Ma Barker and her boys are characters I would have never expected to see on Gotham, because Gotham's such an urban show.
Yeah, see that? And maybe that was it. It felt a little...
But I thought it felt pretty good here just because they're in the whole no man's land scenario. So you could easily see someone coming in from the outskirts of the city trying to capitalize on the fact that the city was mostly abandoned.
Right.
True.
Oh, I did miss things. Sorry. I had a thing weird. Let's see. Bobby, I hadn't even thought of that build. Perfect, and I totally agree. I'm not sure what that was. Good catch. Now we just need King Tut. And
King Tut, another
like
classic villain.
The Red Green Show.
Yeah, the Red Green Show. It's a Canadian show. It's about
I love that you look at me like I should know this Canadian show.
Kind of hill folk. Yeah, Canadian hill folk.
Canadian hill folk. Oof.
Red Green's like Tim Allen if he was friendly,
Oh my. Okay.
Kind of like, a fixer-upper kind of guy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
So Oswald is looking for a change of scenery with his pup Edward.
Yes.
And his secret basement full of gold bars and statues. What exactly is he doing? I am so confused as to what he means with this change of scenery. Like, you're not leaving Gotham.
Well, my assumption was that, he was going to use the wealth he had amassed in that underground chamber there to find some way out of Gotham because the heat was getting too hot.
Right.
You could take in the scene where Jim was talking to him about the government, he was like, even if I let you go, as soon as they get in here and clean things up, you're number one on the list of people they're going to be taking care of.
Especially because he let him go.
Yeah, so I think Penguin's definitely feeling the heat. So he's like, okay, I've done what I can here. I'm going to get out while the getting's good.
I know, but I'm just curious as to how he's going to do that. He can't be leaving. He doesn't need money for a new house. And what exactly is he up to? Going to bribe the mainland? I am so confused.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they would have to have hundreds of batteries to actually do anything.
Yeah, he's talking. Bobby in the chat room is talking about the cars. He's saying they would need hundreds of batteries to actually do something major.
Do what they were doing.
Yeah.
Meh. Yeah, I just don't know what he's doing. And that it's so weird that he's been hiding all of this stuff under there. He's not exactly a brute force guy. I mean, I guess he just killed off whoever he had do it for him. But
I would imagine in those months where he had a bit more power than he has now, like those months in between seasons, he probably had some of his henchmen going out there and, collecting all the things from all the places where they were abandoned.
Are gold bars really that common?
In Gotham, I'd say they are.
All right.
Just because it's a nice visual way to represent wealth.
I in a world where I have, a stack of gold bars somewhere. I just feel like TV has led me to believe that gold bars would be way more common than they are.
Well, considering Gotham City's kind of supposed to be analogous to New York City too, I could imagine there being a bunch of gold bars stored around New York City,
If you have a gold bar, can you please take a picture of it and send it to me so that I know they're real?
I mean, have you ever been to Trump Tower? That thing's
no, I haven't. Nor will I ever.
I went there once with some mutual friends of ours, and
a scarecrow.
Yeah, and a scarecrow, and it was a really boring place. It was like we walked in and it was like, oh, okay, it's kind of goldish. I didn't really have a lot of fun there.
Moving right along.
We got squirreled.
We always got squirreled. Quibbles and bits. Okay,
we're on to our quibbles and bits now. These are basically, some wrappy up kind of points that we wanted to put in, but didn't necessarily necessitate a full discussion. Okay, so first of all,
none of his quibbles and bits are short.
This one is. I really love that Hugo Strange used the bat knockout gas antidote to wake up Ed. Back in the old 60s Batman show, he had this gas that and he would do this a lot if he was taking someone to the Batcave. He would spray them with the knockout gas, and then when they got to the Batcave, he would spray them with the wake up gas. And the little vial that Hugo Strange had looked just like that. And I love the reference. I love all the Batman 66 references.
I loved watching the relationship with Jeremiah. It's like the whole thing. And Echo, twist and develop. They are clearly Joker and Harley without being called by name.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so I'm wondering, what is the final relief plan that Eduardo mentions? My thought, because he says, we need you with us for the final relief plan. You need to kill Ed to prove your loyalty. I was thinking about it. Final relief sounds final.
Extremely final.
I was thinking maybe the whole plan here is to come in, wipe everybody out, kind of burn the city to the ground and start over. Maybe if it is genuinely the government doing this, maybe they're like, Gotham City is so
we can't save this.
Screwed up. We're just going to burn it all down and start again.
Burn it down. Burn it down. Watching controlled Ed turn and slide down the trash chute was hilarious.
Oh, definitely. Where he just bloop, drops in. Bloop. I love that. I thought the scene between Selena and Bruce was interesting because Selena's basically vocalizing her worst criticisms of herself to Bruce when discussing the night of his parents' murders. She had all the capacity for good. We've seen that over the seasons here.
Right.
But in that speech, she lets us hear all the excuses she's been telling herself to keep herself from following Bruce's path, from following, a good superhero-y type path. She thinks, at her heart, she thinks she's a broken person, and the Ivy pod that she took, the influence of that has killed the part of her that was trying to be better, I think. And so now the only voice that's left in her head is that voice telling her that she's not good enough to be good.
I'm starting to care less and less about Selena, to be honest.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my point.
The more she gets into the villain area.
I don't know what it is this season. There's just something different. I don't know whether it's the character or the actress.
Yeah.
I'm having issues.
You're having issues.
Maybe I'm kind of over the teen drama. I think this is where the substitute teacher part of my brain is over it. I'm like, I can't with the drama, y'all. I'm over it.
Maybe it'll help because I'm sure sometime in the next few episodes we're going to be getting a big transition into full-blown Catwoman mode. She'll be wearing a mask and stuff like that, I would assume. So maybe that'll help it a little bit once she stands fully revealed.
Maybe.
And my last quibbling bit, I hope we get some adventures in the other territories of Gotham before the government crew cleans them out. I still want to see the Mr. Freeze Firefly War, for example. Because we haven't really got to see a lot of we got to see the Dark Zone. We got to see some of Jeremiah's areas. But we haven't really seen, all these territories they outlined in the first episode. I really hope we get back to that.
Yes.
So I think that about does it. So, at the end of our discussion, we generally like to give the episode a rating based on a random number that I don't come up with beforehand. I come up with it on the spot every time. Okay, so Anne-Marie. And by the way, you guys in the chat room can give your arbitrary scale too. Out of 72,084 booby trap books, how many booby trap books do you give this episode? Let me say that number again.
72,084.
And 84. Which is just a little bit of trivia. That's the number of possible first moves in chess.
This is why I don't.
Because the
play
books
chess.
were connected to chess and stuff. I thought it'd be fun. But I came up with it on the spot just now. I just knew that off the top of my head.
You did
But
not.
Amber,
It's in the doc.
what do you give it?
It used to be arbitrary. I'm gonna give it 70,112 booby trap books.
Why is that?
Because it's a random number. No, it's really hard when you give a really small number or a really big number because I don't know inflation.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good episode. It answered a lot of the questions that had been set up, like a lot. It was a really good episode before a week off.
Mm-hmm.
Not terribly cliffhangery.
Yeah.
It left me with going, oh, they're going to go there. And then that's why I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
So it was, what about you?
Me, I'm gonna give it 71,500.
71,500.
71,500. Like you said, it was a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't leave me with as many questions as it did comments, which I always like the episodes that leave you with questions more, partially because we do the podcast about it and it gives us more to talk about. But partially because I like having Gotham stuck in my mind. What is the solution to that? What was that issue? Thinking about it all week. And episodes like this where there's a lot of stuff that happens, but not a lot of new stuff introduced. It leaves less questions.
Pretty much the chat room seems to be going for 71,000 and something.
Okay, that's fair.
There's actually people, so it's going off the screen. So it's like 71,000 and this, 71,000 and that, 71,000 and this.
I also saw Andy in our chat room ask what we thought of the Birds of Prey teaser trailer.
I was getting to a spot.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had fun watching it at 25% speed so I could actually see everybody, but it really just looked like everybody was like, hey, we're trying on costumes and we're gonna film it, so get into character mentally.
Yeah, it absolutely looked like the camera test for their costumes.
It was a camera test for some costumes. I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm not mad about it.
The general mood is good.
General mood. I'm down. I'm in. Let's watch it.
Glad to see. I do hope that Ewan McGregor has more of a traditional black mask look somewhere within the movie, because really it was just Ewan McGregor standing there in a suit.
Yes, it was very much just, hey, look, there's Ewan McGregor. Not anything fancy.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks you guys so much in the chat room. That does it for our main discussion, but we do have feedback as always. When you get done watching the episode next week.
No, the week after next.
The next episode, whenever you get done watching the next episode. We want to hear your thoughts. You can email us, legendsofgotham@gmail.com. The voicemail number is 424-274-2352. The Twitter is @legendsofgotham, and the Facebook page is facebook.com/legendsofgotham. And now, as always, we like to start with voicemails. And as far as voicemails go, we always like to start with Bobby. Take it away, Bobby.
Woo!
Hey, Bill, Anne-Marie, and fellow Gothamites. It's Bobby here. So I know there's only a few episodes of Gotham left, so, they got to cram a whole lot into each episode, but I feel like there was quite a bit going on last night. Bane finally showed up, who apparently is a old army buddy of Gordon's in this universe.
Yeah, that's something we didn't really mention.
We did not. Well, because he wasn't Bane in this.
Yeah, he hasn't been labeled Bane yet, but yeah, Eduardo is supposed to be Bane moving forward.
Got him.
He's leading the army squad who was sent over by the mysterious caller that Gordon has been talking to these past few weeks. But of course, the main thrust of the episode was them trying to figure out who the monster of Haven was and figuring out it was Nigma. And I've got to say, I was very surprised to find out who exactly was behind all of that. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when we all thought that it was Jeremiah. So when Bane, or Eduardo, whatever, press that switch and Nigma's pupils flip. I've got to say, I was really surprised by that. I did not see that coming.
Did you have something?
No, I was pretending I was using the switch.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were like
raising
woo!
my hand.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't always do that.
I mean, we all knew he was, he's Bane, but I figured it would be at least a week or so that he would be like, helping Jim before he played Turncoat or showed his true colors. And speaking of Jerry.
Yeah, I will say I was surprised with how quickly they turned the switch on.
They don't have time not to.
I guess so.
If they want him to be full blown Bane, they gotta go. They gotta go.
Maya, apparently he's not as dead as I had assumed last week, but then, of course you can't keep a good guy down. It was definitely a bit comic booky to have him be like, oh, well, I had body armor in certain places, but I had to let her poke through a little bit so she would think I was dead.
Pretty Joker there, too.
Speaking of comic booky, the whole scene with Nigma and Strange where he basically just popped the top off his head and then just placed it back on as if nothing needed else to be done.
That was gross.
It was disgusting.
At first, I was like, that seems like a really bad idea. But then I remembered, no, for brain surgery, a lot of times they keep you awake.
They do actually keep you awake, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But I've got to say, this episode was just filled with like scene after scene after scene of just like great scenes. I usually try to like pick out one of my favorite scenes of the episode, and it was so hard this week. Of course, I already mentioned I love the scenes between Nigma and Strange. So one of my favorite scenes was between Nigma and Riddler. I loved the little friendship murder pact they made. And I really did. And it seemed like, like when Penguin got that letter that Edward was responsible for Haven, he like seemed legitimately like concerned and like, oh my God, Edward, what have you done? Over the years, what's played out. I just really love their dynamic. Yeah,
there's definitely some emotion.
Edward,
there towards Ed from Penguin.
And of course, Bruce, I'd say I love the scene between Bruce and Selena. Selena actually seemed, like she was upset that she felt that way, but she actually finally opened up to Bruce. And she wasn't lying. I think that's how she's always felt. But I also think that she's concerned about that. But at the same time, she knows that, that's what you have to do to get by in Gotham. Because it didn't take long for those tears to go back in and for her to just be like, oh, I love this song. And then, of course, that probably led to my favorite scene of the episode which would usually have been Bruce going to confide in Gordon, but Gordon wasn't there, and Bullock was. So it was a great opportunity to see just how much like Gordon has rubbed off on Bullock. And it was also a great opportunity to have Bullock be able to impart some sort of like Batman type wisdom on Bruce, leading up to his journey to the Dark Knight.
Something that we didn't mention about that Harvey and Jim in this episode too was that whole like, what, you don't want me to go, boss? And no, you're important. I need you.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting dynamic. It reminded me of like almost like a father and son dynamic where it's like, we have to make him feel important now.
Yeah,
too.
It was a little weird.
Yeah.
Of course, that leads to a few different nitpicks I have real quick. First and foremost is, of course, where's Lee? Where the hell is Lee? We assume
where the hell is Lee?
That more than likely Strange had something to do with Nigma and Lee. We see that, yes, that's what's going on with Nigma, but we still have no word on Lee. Where's Lee? We haven't seen hide nor hair of her. We know she's here somewhere. Was she's off making Deadpool 2? I heard she wasn't even in that movie all that long. And then why didn't they even address the whole Barbara and Jim thing? It wasn't even in the previously on Gotham thing. I don't know.
Well, based on some episode descriptions I've read, it will be addressed very soon, I think.
Yes.
It was just like, I feel like they made such a big deal, or I feel like it is such a big deal. They put it in the last minutes of the last episode, and then it just wasn't even addressed this week. And my biggest nitpick of the episode is, while it was a great scene, the hillbillies trying to electrocute Nigma. It was, quite funny how they were more concerned about their dog Jojo than the other hundreds of people in Haven.
I love
that.
But
you cannot electrocute someone with a car battery. A car battery has like 12 volts at max when you turn it on, have it with the car running. It's like 13 to 14 volts, maybe 14.7, up to 15. But an electric chair has like 2,000 volts. So now, like, obviously it was never working at full capacity on him anyway. So it was obviously never reaching the 2,000 volts anyway. 13 to 15 volts. I think I've experienced more jolts, getting shocked while I was checking irrigation clocks.
I will say that I think they were the type of people who would rather slow cook a human being than to microwave it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
But all those nitpicks aside, I've got to say this was such a great episode. But out of the 2,000 volts it would have actually taken to electrocute Enigma, I'm going to give this 1,994. Of course, taking a cue from Anne-Marie, you got to leave some room for improvement. But this was a really great episode.
Exactly.
Nice. Thank you very much, Bobby. Next up, we have Rebecca has called in. So take it away, Rebecca.
What's up, Legends of Gotham?
What's
This is
up?
Rebecca Johnson, and I wanted to send in some feedback about the 5th episode of Gotham Season 5. So much happened in this week's episode, but I really just wanted to say that I loved the scene between Bruce and Harvey. It was nice to see Bullock help a young Batman find the hope in the chaos. I imagine that it would be easy to give up in a city like Gotham, but focusing in on how to help others can actually help yourself. And that's not just true on a TV show, that's true in real life. I could say so much more on Selina bringing up the Wayne murders and my great surprise that the Haven tragedy wasn't as predictable as I thought it was going to be. But I just wanted to give some love to that Bruce and Bullock scene in this episode because it stood out to me as emotionally rewarding for both of those characters and for me as a viewer. Hope you all are well, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
We are well.
Well, my voice is a little scratchy, but otherwise we're good.
Anne-Marie is fading quickly, so we're going to try and get through these as quick as possible. All right, next up is Mike Pasqua. Take it away, Mike.
Woo!
Hi, Bill. This is Mike Pasqua. I mean, man, this was a fun week for Gotham. We get to see Hugo Strange again. Turns out that he's put a chip in Enigma's head that looks like it's causing all the problems. Number one. Number two. Man, they did an homage to the Batman 1989 by having some guy sitting in a chair and unwrapping his head after what appears to be a surgery. We get basically the army comes in, but the guy who's running this group of army guys looks like he's working for an Amanda Waller type person, you know.
Yes.
That's number two. We get a backstory on why Selina did not do anything in terms of helping out with the Wayne's murder thing.
I think she honestly was just a scared little kid.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with, this is why I was having issues with that whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
She's like literally crying, saying, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. You were the scared kid. I'm like, you were also pretty scared at the time.
Well, shouldn't
he already know that she was there?
Yeah, I was going to say, because
have we not gone through that in the past 5 years?
There was the whole big thing where Jim was trying to get her to give a police artist a sketch and all that stuff.
That's why she was at Wayne Manor.
Yeah.
In season 1.
Interesting.
Because she didn't care, you know, whatever. And she went back to Sirens, you know, so it is what it is there. So that's what we get in this week's. Now, we didn't get anything else in terms of what happened with, that they didn't address the kiss. So I'm waiting for them to address the kiss from last week, which will probably happen next week. So that's what I got for you, Bill, Anne-Marie. See you Sunday. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Mike. Also over in the chat room, we see Liz over there. Hi, Liz. Hi. Nice to see you. Okay, we're gonna have a letter, and then we'll wrap it up with one more voicemail. You want to read this letter from Buffalo Phil?
I got this letter's from Buffalo Phil?
Yeah, this letter's from Buffalo Phil.
Oh, okay. Got you. Hey, guys. First off, I absolutely love the podcast. All caps. Bill is wicked cool, and Anne-Marie is such a dork. It's adorable. Thank you. Okay, so my thoughts on this past episode. Jeremiah isn't dead. You know why? Not because of any clones or magic plants, not because of anything Strange will do, or not because of a body double. It's because he's the frickin' Joker. Truth.
Very true.
Okay, look at any other variations, whether it be in the comics or cartoons, and he always gets the snot kicked out of him, shot or stabbed, and still comes back. I still find it incredibly annoying and frustrating that they're not allowed to use the complete likeness or name Joker. Warner Brothers is so stupid for that decision. We're just not going to.
Although, if you look at our art for this week's episode, that's the Joker.
That's the Joker.
That's the Joker.
Isn't the purple
that's the Joker.
That's the Joker. Anyway, all I want to wait. Do you think Gotham will survive on CW or Netflix picking it up? Personal opinion. Let it go, y'all.
Yeah.
Let it go.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a proper Batman series set in the world of Gotham.
Right.
But not on the I wouldn't like it on the CW.
No.
I could see like Netflix or the DC universe, like if
or on Hulu.
If they put it on like DC Universe and they had some of the same people involved that are on that Titan series, I'd be completely okay with it, because that Titan series, especially the Doom Patrol episode, is very, very close to the same mood that Gotham has.
Bobby, we need Amanda Waller. We can't use Amanda Waller. Okay, we'll call her Walker. Let's see. All I want to see in the final episode is Gordon with his famous iconic mustache. I could see that happening. Who's your favorite Batman? Who's your favorite Bruce Wayne? His is Batman Keaton and Bruce Bale. Keep up with the awesome work, guys. Can't wait till next week. P.S. Where the hell is Lee?
Where the hell is Lee? The constant question. I think maybe whenever Lee comes back, we should call that episode "Here the Hell is Lee." But okay, to his question, who's your favorite Batman and who's your favorite Bruce Wayne?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I am not as familiar with all of the Batmans and the Bruces.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I liked Batfleck, and now he's no more. So
I was gonna say I think Batfleck is definitely my favorite Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. As far as my favorite Batman, probably gonna have to go with Keaton.
Yeah.
Keaton, or unless you can count animated, in which case Kevin Conroy, the Batman, the animated series Batman. But
I think you can count it.
Yeah. So those are our faves.
Let's see. Andy says people may be surprised by the finale when it comes to the Joker name mentioned. CW is doing Batwoman next, so we'll be getting a Bat show next season. Bobby, long live Adam West.
Yes, Adam West, a constant companion to me.
Yeah.
Me and Adam West were good friends. Not really.
Not really. No. Didn't he yell at you?
No, he didn't yell at me. I did get to interview him in a group interview once at Dragon Con. Yeah. If you look back,
if you scroll back on our YouTube channel, you'll find that.
Yeah, you'll find that on there. Let's see here. Yeah, and Andy, if you have any inside information, might know some people who would like to hear it off the record. Okay, and last but not least, I saved this for last because it's a little bit longer, but we have a voicemail from Big J. Take it away, Big J, who we haven't heard from in years.
Literally.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
It's going to be the creepy stuff again.
I've missed you. Big J here. My, how time flies. Especially when you've sutured a pocket watch to a hawk. Watch it fly.
I'm scared.
Seriously. Gotham Season 5. Who knew we'd finally be here? Well, I did. It's just that good.
That's
now,
cool.
Let's talk about this recent episode, shall we? First, should we get right to the meat of it? Me? No, let's wait. Let's talk about the boring stuff first, shall we? Who blew up Haven? Why? Was it Riddler? Eduardo? Hugo? If I had to put my money on anyone, I'd say she had some kind of intel with Wells. You remember that company that made Viper back in season 1?
Yes.
Essentially turned that deadly formula into the Venom formula? Who owned that, by the way? Was it Wayne Company? Was it a private organization?
Wayne Company.
Was it the Army? I have a very short memory, so I can't tell you. Maybe a newspaper can.
I think it was the Wayne Company, Wayne Enterprises, Wayne Corp,
Wayne Corp.
Wayne Co.
That's right. They don't exist anymore.
You know, nightmares.
Food for thought. Now, good old Jeremiah, sleeping so soundly after being stabbed to death like his brother. Perhaps it was just a test, one in which he surely passed. He passed. Where was
I think my favorite part is not the wonderful voice that's going on right now. It's how freaked out you are by it.
So creepy.
this man sleeping? Wayne Manor? Walking out of the Batcave itself? And why? To recreate mutants of his own? Replicas of the Waynes? A family reunion for the solely sulking little boy trying so desperately to be a hero. A hero with a broken heart. Shall we cry a tear for the little boy? Oh, little boy, one day you will know your place. As will I. After all, there is an episode coming up very, very soon. By the name of... Spoiler. Oops. Let's not drop that one, shall we? Well, Bill and Marie, until next time, stay at home, children. Stay in bed. Stay away from me.
You know, I wasn't freaked out until he said our names, and now I'm really freaked out.
Until he told us to stay home and stay in bed.
But
that's what I like to do.
Thank you, Big J. It's been a long time since we've heard from you, and we're just as scared as we were a couple of years ago.
I'm possibly more scared now.
Definitely. I know, but always good times. Good times. After the next episode of Gotham, we want to hear from you, too. If you have a creepy voicemail to send us, send it along.
No!
The email is legendsofgotham@gmail.com. The voicemail is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And you can call and leave messages on there about anything, not just Gotham. And
if you just want to call and chat,
cool. If you want to call and confess to a murder or something like that,
please don't do that, because then I'm going to have to turn that in.
No, we won't. No, we won't, wink. Okay, and also the Twitter's at Legends of Gotham, and the Facebook is facebook.com/Legends of Gotham. When there's an episode of Gotham that has been on, we stream there Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
I enjoy that. That's a good way to get around your, I don't know what week we are.
Thank you. But again, we want to thank everybody who joined us over in the chat room over on Facebook tonight. We love all of you deeply, truly, madly. Anne-Marie, where can people find you online?
Nowhere for the next week because I'm taking a social media hiatus, but normally you can find me on, let's go with Twitter at DeSimone. It's down there.
Yeah. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Bill Meeks. You can follow me on Instagram at Bill Meeks. You can follow me on Ello at Bill Meeks. You can follow me on Google+, google.com/+Bill Meeks until 2 days from now.
I was like, is it going away like February 9th?
And I'm also working on a personal website. There's not much there now, but there will be, billmeeks.com.
You have so much more to promote. I feel like I need more in my life.
You do. You can promote some of my stuff. I'll give you some of my stuff next time to promote. It'll be good. I know, but we want to thank you guys again so much. We hope to see you next time we're back here. So really, I think we've said all that needs to be said about this episode. So join us next time for more Legends of Gotham. Look at the lights in my glasses.
Lovely.
If I look over here, it's fine. If I look over here, woo.
I don't look over there. There's a reason I'm not wearing my glasses. I think I wore them last week and it drove me nuts.
I could take my glasses off. Look dark and mysterious.
You don't look dark and mysterious. You're wearing a Reptar hat.